Pressure is basically the force that is applied on a specific area. Like the pressure that you apply on a specific area is the pressure. Pressure is very much different from a thrust. What is thrust? Thrust is basically the perpendicular force that is applied on an area. But if the direction is not perpendicular, but it's any ways except a perpendicular like this, any case, then that force which is applied on an area is known as pressure. Now there is a specific, there is a trick of remembering the formula for pressure. Let's do that. So what we'll do is we will make this triangle. After making this triangle, I'll write P, F and A. After I've written all the initials, what I'll do is I'll separate them by using a line. So I've drawn this middle line and the horizontal line and a vertical line, right? Now the horizontal line, it represents my division sign. And the vertical line, it represents my multiplication sign. So this is basically the thing that you have to remember. But what you need to draw is you need to draw a triangle and then write P, F, A here and then separate each one. After you have done this, what you'll do is, for example, I need to find the formula for pressure. What I'll do is I'll write pressure, I'll write force and I'll write area. So I want the formula for pressure. So pressure equals, now the line that comes in between the force and area is that of division. So basically I'll put the sign of division here. And hence I'll get my formula as pressure equals force divided by area. I hope this is clear to you. Next, let's take what is force. So for force, what I'll do is I'll write F. Then since I want to find force, I'll write equal. And the two remaining terms are P and A. Yes? The line that comes in between these P and A is that of multiplication. Right? So this is a formula we get. Let's check. So force is equal to P times A. Correct? As I have told you earlier as well, the unit of force is Newton because, I've told you that for force, any force, like let it be magnetic force, electromagnetic force, gravitational force, any kind of force, the unit will be Newton and the standard unit of area is meter square. Now let's see what is pressure basically. So the formula that we will be using most in this chapter is pressure equals force divided by area and we can easily calculate it. Now what is the unit of force? As we just discovered, it's Newton and the unit for area, it's meter square. Right? So the unit for the pressure would be Newton per meter square. There is another unit for pressure and that is Pascal. So Pascal basically gave the unit for pressure and the unit is PA. Remember students, P here would be capital and A would be small and this represents Pascal. It is known as Pascal. Fine. So SI unit of pressure is 1 Newton per meter square, which is written like this, Newton per meter square, and other one is Pascal where P is capital. I hope this part is clear to you. Now let's solve a question related to this. So basically, what is the pressure exerted? So we have to find the pressure which is exerted at the base of this house and we are given the force, that is 700 Newton. Now how do I know that this is a force? Because the unit is Newton. So Newton means force. Next, I have to find the area. Now, I basically know that this is a square. Why a square and not a rectangle? Because the length and the breadth are equal in size and it has a right angle triangle, right? So the area for a square is area square, or basically to find the area, if I do not want to discover it as a square, I'll do the multiplication of this and this. So I'll get the unit as 4 meter square. Now let's see, the formula that we'll be using here is pressure is equal to force divided by area. My force is 700 Newton and area I've just found out is 4 meter square. So I'll be putting all my values and I'll get my answer as 175. I'll put the unit of pressure as Pascal. I could even put it as Newton per meter square. So it is totally up to you. If you want to go for Pascal, go for that. If you want to go for Newton per meter square, go for that. But please do never forget the units because when you're writing the magnitude, you have to ensure that you write the units. Units are very important. Now let's see. So the formula was pressure equals force upon area. That means that pressure is directly proportional to the force. What does this means? This is only the case when you keep the area as constant. So as a force that you are applying on an object, you keep on increasing the force, the pressure will also increase. So like here, if the person is moving this cart with a much greater force, then the pressure which will be applied on the string as well as on the cart will be more as compared to when the force was applied less. Similarly, if the force is kept as constant, then pressure is inversely proportional to area. Now, for example, if I take a pen and I push it from both the ends, what I'll see is that from the pointed end of the pen, I will get a mark here, but not from the other end. That would be because the area at the pointed tip is very much less as compared to the end part. And so if the area is less, that means the pressure applied would be more. And that is the reason why I get a prick mark here, right? So when you just try this, take your pencil or pen and try to apply a equivalent force from both the ends, and you will see that you'll get a prick on the finger where the pointed end is and not on the other finger, right? So this means that pressure is inversely proportional to area. Now, how do you basically find, whether the constants are variables are directly proportional or inversely proportional? So the formula says P equals F upon A, right? Now, if I need to find for pressure, so pressure, I have numerator in force and in denominator I have area. So all the constants, all the variables which I have in the numerator, they are directly proportional to the term mentioned here. And everything that I have in the denominator is inversely proportional to the term I have here. So that is why force is directly proportional to the area and to the pressure, and area is inversely proportional to the pressure. I hope.
All right, so what are pascals? And this is the formal SI-approved unit of pressure. And it's defined as 1 Newton per square meter. So essentially, that's 1 Newton of force over an area of 1 square meter. Another common unit of pressure that I already mentioned is the atmosphere. And so basically, this is the average atmospheric pressure at sea level. This can also be described in millimeters of mercury, and this is a much more common unit, and that's the amount of pressure exerted by a column of mercury that's exactly 1 millimeter high. So it exerts a 1 millimeter of mercury pressure. So that's 1 unit. And that unit was actually renamed to the torr, which is an equivalent unit. So you have 1 torr is equal to 1 millimeter of mercury. And basically, here is the equivalency. These are the main units for pressure that we're going to use in this class. So there's 1 atmosphere, 760 millimeters of mercury, and 760 torr. And those are all equal to each other, so we can use any two basically to construct equivalencies and use them to convert pressure units. Okay, so let's practice that. So how many atmospheres are there in 595 torr? So use that equivalency, construct conversion factor, and then do that conversion, and we'll talk about it and see if you're right. Okay, so we're going to construct a conversion factor between torr and atmospheres for this problem. So that's 1 atmosphere is equal to 760 torr. Now we're starting with 595 torr. And so that means that in our equivalency, our conversion factor here, we need to have torr on the bottom so that those units cancel out. So 595, 760 torr is on the bottom, and the unit that we want is going to be on the top of our conversion factor. And so when we do that math, 595 divided by 760, we're going to get 0.783 atmospheres. So this is the unit left over after we do our conversion. That's the unit that our new quantity is in. Now, remember that these numbers in the conversion factor are exact. So in these gas conversion problems, between various units of pressure, we're actually going to use the number of sig figs that is in the initial pressure of the gas. So in this case, you can see there are 3 sig figs, and so we have 3 significant figures in our answer. So remember, this 0 before the decimal place, that leading 0, that does not count in the count of sig figs. Okay, so let's do another one. So the atmosphere on Mars is largely carbon dioxide at a pressure of 6.01 millimeters of mercury. So what is this pressure in atmospheres? So go ahead and try this one, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so we're going to use this, the pressure equivalencies that we already have, and this time we're going to choose millimeters of mercury in atmospheres instead of torrs in atmosphere. So again, we're starting off with 6.01 millimeters of mercury. So that means millimeters of mercury is in the numerator here. We need to put millimeters of mercury in our conversion factor in the denominator so that they cancel out. And then, of course, we're going to 1 atmosphere. So we're going to put that on top. When we do the math, 6.01 divided by 760, we're going to get 0.00791 atmospheres. Now again, only the initial pressure is what we're going to use to count sig figs, and there are 3. So let's go over to our answer, and we can see that there's 1, 2, 3, and all of these leading zeros do not count in counting sig figs. So 1, 2, 3. And that's 3 sig figs. You can see it more clearly in the scientific notation. So remember, if you want to make that more clear to yourself how many sig figs you're using, you could always convert your answer into scientific notation.